friends, welcome back. I'm Slow Motion Mike, and today we're exploring another trail here in Springfield, Missouri. In my last video, we rode the entire South Creek Greenway, which is about 6 miles. At the end of that ride, I mentioned there's another trail system we could connect with to get some more miles in. But first, we gotta do some backtracking. So to get to our next trail, we'll take a right and get off the South Creek Greenway. After a little zigging and zagging, we'll make it up to Battlefield Road, where there's a dedicated bike lane. Now, for some of you, this might be where you stop watching, and I get it. I see it online all the time. There's no way you'll catch me riding on a road, or roads aren't safe, or a trike is too low to the ground to ride on a road. Roads can be safe if you choose them wisely, ride at the right time of day, and follow the basic rules of the road. Life is about managing risk, and I think the benefits of cycling really outweigh those risks. With that said, you can always take the sidewalk here, so no judgments. After that really fun downhill and seeing some fellow trikers, we've made it to Tao's Trailhead. This is where we can connect to the Wilson's Creek Greenway, which is the focus of the rest of the video. Now there are 2 segments here, one that goes to the south and one that goes to the north. We're going to start off going south, which is to the left of the trailhead when you're facing the sign. For most cyclists, I actually recommend you go straight and then right, which takes you to the north. And I'll show you exactly why I recommend that in a moment. So the south segment has some nice scenery and the trail's in great condition, but it's not one I recommend for beginner cyclists and especially for those starting out on a trike. The reason for that is simply this: there are some serious hills coming up. If you're new to climbing hills on a bike or a trike, it may help to understand how to rate how steep a hill is. So most route planning apps that are worth anything will show you a percent grade that we can use as a guide. 1 to 3% is going to be pretty easy, anybody can tackle those. 4 to 6% takes a little bit of effort, but it's okay. Once you get to 7 to 9% grade, it's a little bit more difficult and you're probably going to get a little bit tired. Anything greater than 10% is going to be extreme and it will be challenging. Just as a comparison, this hill of mine right now starts at about a 10% grade and then at its worst goes up to 17%. Luckily, I have really great gearing on my roll-off hub, and so I can make it up. Now, if you're trying to figure out the difficulty of an entire ride, I recommend you calculate the feet per mile. So if you're doing from 0 to 35 feet per mile, that's going to be pretty easy, maybe a couple rolling slopes, but nothing major. 35 to 50, a little more difficult. 50 to 70 would be considered hard, and then again, top of the spectrum here, 70 feet per mile and up, that's extreme and it's going to be very tiring. So for example, if we take this south segment of the Wilson's Creek Greenway, it is about 1.7 miles and about 95 feet of climbing. So that comes out to about 55 feet per mile. So this is sort of on the lower end of the hard spectrum. So it's still totally doable, but if you're new to riding a bike or a trike, it's going to be very challenging, especially because climbing is generally more difficult on a trike because you don't have your body weight to use. Now, even if you're using an e-assist on your trike, another thing to keep in mind is the higher the grade, the more that's going to eat through your battery. So if you are brave enough to attempt these hills, you are rewarded with some really awesome downhills. Right at the crest of this hill, it actually hits at 18% momentarily downhill. So just make sure you're on your brakes, because it is very easy to lose control going that fast downhill. When you pass this old graveyard, you might be tempted just to pull in and take a nap after all the hills, but you're almost to the end, so keep going. And just like that, the south segment of Wilson's Creek, it just kind of ends. I hope this gets extended one day, but for now this is it. So take a moment to enjoy the scenery and then turn your trike around. So if you want to shake things up a little bit on the route back, I do recommend a little trail that lets you cut through and around some of the hills on the latter half of this trail. As you're riding, you can see the actual Wilson's Creek to the left. The water levels were pretty low because it's been pretty dry recently, so not much to show there, but it is a really nice little path. So this is a little bit bumpy. There's a lot of tree roots and rocks. So if you're on a suspended trike, you'll be fine, but if you have a trike without any kind of suspension, just go slow, like 45 miles an hour, and you'll be fine. Hey there, while I am taking a break to stretch out my back and legs, why don't you take a break to stretch out your thumbs and hit like and subscribe. I really enjoy making all this content and sharing it with you, so it would mean a lot to me. So once you get back to Tal's Trailhead, you just go straight and then take a right to get back on the northern section of the Wilson's Creek Greenway. It starts off with a little bit of a climb. It's about 5%, so it's pretty easy. And then once you get to the top, it kind of opens up and you get to see some nice fields and really beautiful vistas, and you get a nice downhill, so it's a nice payoff. So these old cattle gates used to be the bane of my existence. My old trike would barely fit through, and I know a lot of other people in the local recumbent trike community have had problems with those. Thankfully they got widened a little bit, now it's not so bad. So after you go over this bumpy bridge, to the right you'll see a path for Rutledge Wilson Farm Park. So keep going past this because there's still quite a bit of trail left and a nice loop before you come back and head to the park. So if you made it this far in the video, congratulations, because now things are going to get a little weird. I always feel like this loop at the end is kind of spooky, and I think it was earlier this summer that I was coming through here and I saw a little turtle by the side of the path. And you know, I'm by myself and I like to talk to animals, so I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm pretty sure the turtle said something back to me. It was in turtle, so I didn't quite understand it. Either that or it was a homeless person yelling at me from the woods. That did happen during the summer, so I could have been a little delirious from the heat, but I like to think it was the turtle talking to me. Well, looks like we've made it to the end of the Wilson's Creek Greenway. The north segment is about 4.2 miles from Taos Trailhead, and if you combine that with their southern segment, which is 1.7 miles, you can enjoy 7.6 miles of beautiful greenway. And don't forget, this trail pairs really well with the South Creek Greenway. When I ride these trails together, I'll usually skip the southern section of Wilson's Creek and just take the north segment. Altogether, that route will give you 10 miles one way, or you can double back and get a respectable 20-mile ride in. Alright everyone, that's it for the Wilson's Creek Greenway. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and until next time, keep on Trike'n.